That spirit, Jay Huss. You're listening to The Scene with me, Jasmine Dotiwala, on BBC Radio London, and I'm here with you till 10 p.m. tonight. And we are joined by our second guest. You are so lucky because we bring you the really cool guest, not just in art, film, music, dance, ballet, classical music, parkour, culinary cuisine. I mean, literally, we do it all on The Scene. But the one thing that I'm really keen for us all to do is make the best of our brand. So if you're listening and you're thinking, how can I make myself bigger and more successful? What can I do? You are in for a treat, because next in the hot seat is an award-winning specialist with 23 years of brand experience. Since 2007, she's taught brand marketing in academic institutions, corporate firms, international conferences. She's had clients that include NatWest, Deloitte, Oxford University, London College of Fashion, New York University, King's College. I mean, I could keep going, but I'd get out of breath. She's been featured across lots of media platforms, including BBC News, The Guardian, The Sunday Times, and she's now written a book to help you be your strongest brand. The book's called I Am My Brand and is an essential step-by-step guide to building your brand, knowing your worth and finding success on your own terms. So welcome to The Scene to share all that with us, Kubi Springer.
Hi Jazz, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm good, excited.
Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, the listeners are enjoying the show. We've got texts flying in. So I've got a listener, Reshma Bering, says on Twitter, listening into The Scene with the awesome Jasmine Dotiwala. Why, thank you, Reshma. Sounds like a great lineup tonight. Reshma, it is a great lineup tonight. I've got Kubi Springer in the hot seat, and she's going to tell you how to make the most of your brand. But Kubi,
yes,
before we talk about you and your book, you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you?
Let's go.
Please introduce yourself and tell us which of London's cultural tribes you represent.
I am my brand tribe. I'm a London girl tribe, second generation black British tribe. Don't give me kitten heels tribe. Mac makeup, Findy if you must tribe. Single mummy, love my baby angel tribe. My team a fabulous tribe. Women matter tribe. Girl boss tribe. She builds brands tribe. I love Jesus tribe. Smoothie on the go tribe. Gotta have my coffee tribe. Ackee and saltfish with a little callaloo tribe. Can't eat dumplings anymore tribe because I'm 40 plus tribe. I need to hit the gym tribe. Destiny's Child, I'm a survivor tribe. I need to bake it in the shower tribe. Need a glass of Chardonnay tribe. Book me a massage please tribe. Yoga and meditation tribe. Believe in yourself tribe. You got this girl tribe. Bring it on tribe. That just got real tribe. I can, so you can tribe. They call me a rebel brand consultant tribe.
Oh, I have to applaud that. Down to the last second. Perfect timing. And you're not even a musician.
No.
I love that. And you can see why you are the woman to build brands.
Amen.
Ah, well, congratulations and well done on the book.
Thank you.
Here it is, I Am My Brand by Kubi Springer. So I've known you for many years. I've seen you on The Scene, whether it's been with business clients or film or music, etc. So let's get a little bit into your early days. Where are you a born and bred Londoner, first of all?
I'm a born and bred Londoner.
Where are you from?
Originally South London. Yeah, but I'm not a Londoner anymore.
Where are you from now?
Kent.
You've gone out to Kent,
I've gone out to the sunny seaside, darling.
Is it nicer than the capital?
When you've got little ones, I think it's nice because they get to play and do pony riding, etc. So yeah.
But South London shaped you.
South London absolutely did.
And when we're younger, we don't really think to ourselves at the age of 15, I'm going to be a brand consultant. So how did you get into it?
You know, Jazz, I got in because the backstory is I was a dancer. And so I trained at the Royal Academy, loved all things classical ballet and dance. Back then I was very skinny. Yes, I was. Double pirouettes was my thing. And what happened was I injured my knee on tour with the Spice Girls.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
I never knew that.
Yeah.
You were a dancer with the Spice Girls
I
the
was.
first time around.
First time, not this last one, people. And so when I injured my knee, I was really stuck. Like, what do I do next? Where do I go? And the tour manager said to me, well, you can talk for England. Why don't you think of going into PR and marketing? And so my cousins lived in the States. And so I ended up going out to New York that summer, got an internship off the cuff with Essence Music Festival. And back then I met a young Jay-Z, a young Puffy, and I just fell in love with it. And I was like, well, if this is what marketing looks like, I'm down. And so that's how I got into the game.
And so what were you doing in your first job as a marketing person? Because actually, what is an entry-level job look like when it comes to brands?
Yeah, it looks like an internship, especially if you're starting in the music industry, as you know, right? You kind of start as the runner, doing all the coffee runs. And so I was at MTV. Trevor Nelson was my very first boss. And obviously that's how we first met back in the day. And so I was an intern whilst I did my undergrad. And then when I finished, I thought, well, I'm going to earn loads of money now, and got a reality check that actually, you don't really know anything. So no one's going to pay you, puppet. And so then went back out to the States and then got an internship with Puffy's marketing agency, which was Blue Flame at the time.
I remember it well.
Yeah. And then the career just kind of built from there. I stayed in New York for about 5-6 years. I came home because I ended up getting a contract with Justin Timberlake on the Justified tour, working with Eddie Morales and Marty Kadaloki, who was his choreographers at the time. And then it just kind of spiraled. Then I got a freelance contract with Nike Midnight Madness. And then Kanye from the Mobos was like, why don't you come and work as project manager? Did 4 years at Mobos, was head of marketing for Mobos, and then it just kind of just built.
How exciting. So some of the names you've already mentioned. So we've had P. Diddy, you said Justin Timberlake, Mariah Carey, Adidas and Nike. What did you do with them?
So Adidas basically came off the back of Nike. So Nike wanted music and sports combined, working on Nike Midnight Madness.
That was like their late night basketball competition. I remember going to a couple of those. They were so exciting.
So cool.
For a young Jasmine. And Richard Pascoe, who works on the show, was their DJ. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
It was
times.
amazing.
Lots of very fit fellas.
Yeah, there was.
And so you were marketing that
Yeah,
way,
so basically I was part of the marketing team for that, doing a freelance contract. And so that was cool. And then off the back of that, Adidas said, well, look, we want to do something similar where we're combining music and sport. And so that's what those two contracts were. And it was really off the back of that time with Diddy. People always say to me, what was the catalyst to your career? And it was working with Puff at Blue Flame, for sure.
Oh, wow. And you can tell when someone's been working with P. Diddy from the early years, because we all call him Puff.
Yes. Showing our age.
I know.
As opposed to brother love.
I'm not even embarrassed that I own that with my chest. Yes. I'm like, children, you may be calling him P. Diddy, but we call him Puffy.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And so tell us about this book that you've written. It's called I Am My Brand. And what will people get from it?
Well, what happened was, after kind of 23 years doing brand marketing, I started to see that there's a formula. And a lot of people, when they think about personal branding, they think about, the young influencer or the vlogger, blogger girl or the Beyoncés of this world. And what I realized, particularly in the last 10 years of my career, where I no longer work with entertainment, but I work with corporate clients, is that the everyday person is a brand. And most people don't appreciate that, nor do they recognize it. And so I thought, well, with Brexit looming, there's going to be a lot of people out of jobs. There's going to be a lot of people thinking, well, what do I do now? Some people are trying to start side hustles, but how do you do it? And so I've created this book using the formula of the 8 pillars of personal brand success to teach the everyday person.
The 8 pillars?
Yes.
What are the 8 pillars?
So,
come on, let's teach our listeners something. BBC Radio London, this is like a free consultancy for you right now. If you're thinking of changing your career, if you're thinking, how could I push myself to the next level? Maybe I want to, I don't know. I mean, I need consultancy for my brand. I tell you, Kubi, I don't know what people think of me. I think they think I'm a troublemaker. So what are the 8 pillars that we need to think of?
So I think pillar number 1 starts with your vision. And this is at any stage in your career, because you could be 40 plus like myself and have had a vision when you started your career, but now you're uncertain. Now you're just paying the bills. So I encourage the reader to say, let's go back to what that vision is and be clear, because branding is a business driver and you're the business of one. So if you're the business of one, where is your brand taking you to? So we start with the vision. The second thing is the decision. A lot of times people say, oh yeah, I want to be a success, and then life kicks them and then they stop. And so I say in the book that success is not a guarantee. It's a choice. It's the decisions that you make every single day that determine the success. There's no magic moments in your career. There's just tiny little steps of making decisions to say yes, yes, keep going, fall down, get back up, yes. So the second bit is about your decisions. The next bit is about being clear. 80% of communication is nonverbal. 80%.
I was fascinated when I read that in your book. It's in the beginning chapter. And I thought, wow, 80%.
80%.
So when people first meet me, they're judging me by 80% on what I look like.
Absolutely.
Not before I've even spoken.
Before you've spoken. What you look like, how you're standing, how you're not standing, your eye contact, your handshake. So before you've even said anything, you said everything.
Wow.
So the next pillar is about gaining clarity. What is it that your brand stands for? What are your values? What is your mission? What is your vision? What is your brand archetype? In other words, what is your brand personality? So if you think of someone like a Steve Jobs is the magician. He has the ability to be able to lure you in, and that's why his presentations were so great. If you think about somebody like Oprah Winfrey, Oprah's brand archetype is that she's the caregiver. It's the reason why in her program she used to go, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, right? She's the caregiver.
Yeah.
Someone like me is the rebel.
We all fit different molds, do we?
Absolutely. So there's 12 brand archetypes.
Well, I reckon I'm a rebel.
I reckon, yeah. Me and you are the same kind of brand personality. But then the rebel will show up in different ways. So for me as a consultant, 9 times out of 10, I'm the only person in the room that looks like me. I'm the only female. I'm the only black woman. If I haven't got a big afro, I've got my hair cut short, probably red. So I'm the rebel because I'm unapologetically me in a space that's normally male, upper middle class, Oxford, Cambridge graduated. So it's about owning your brand and being really clear on what you stand for. Shall I keep going?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've just joined us, you're listening to The Scene with me, Jasmine Dotiwala. My guest, Kubi Springer, is the author of a new book, I Am My Brand, and she's just running through the 8 pillars that you need to know about to change up and improve your personal brand. So we've had vision, decision, clarity, and being clear about our values. What else have we got?
So the next thing is strategy. So let's say somebody's listening, they're thinking, oh, I really want a pay rise. They've maybe found out that, Johnny that sits next to them gets paid more money than them.
That's me.
Right? And you want a pay rise. Well, what's the strategy that you're going to implement in order to get that pay rise? What are the stepping stones to make your boss say yes? The other day I was out working with a corporate client and I said to them, how many of you go to coffee with your colleagues? How many of you have asked your boss to go out for lunch? Most people don't, because they're not being strategic about their career.
I should be asking my boss to go out to lunch.
Absolutely. Ask your boss to go out to lunch maybe once a quarter so he can get to know you. Because people buy people. Or she, my bad. People buy people, right?
Yeah.
Beyond skills and capabilities, people buy people. They want to know who you are. And a lot of people think if I just work hard.
Don't most of us dread just sitting in a meeting with our bosses one-to-one? The idea of going out and having to eat lunch with them for a whole hour, God, that could be awkward.
Or make it a coffee.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, make it a coffee.
Look, people are enjoying this. Ryan Gordon's tweeted, I'm listening to the amazing Kubi Springer on BBC Radio London with Jasmine Dotiwala. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Yeah, here's a question for you. We'll go back to your 8 pillars in a second. Esther Thompson's tweeted, a question for Kubi Springer. How is marketing different in the UK compared to the USA?
Oh, it's a really good question. I think in the US, if you think about the education system, from very young, they're trained at school level to be very articulate when it comes to presentations. They're taught as part of the curriculum to stand up and sell. And so by the time they get to adults, they're quite effervescent with their sales techniques. We, on the other hand, are not taught that. The British are very coy and we're told don't oversell, darling. And
don't show off.
Don't show off.
Children should be seen and not heard.
Absolutely. And so as a result, by the time we become an adult, we don't enjoy selling because we see it as something that's what we're not meant
vulgar,
to do.
darling.
Yes, it's bad. It's not us. So that's probably the biggest difference.
You're right. Whenever I've been to America, their children are so, as you say, I love that word, effervescent. They really sell themselves. They can have adult conversations with you. So what are the final pillars that we need to know about?
So we know strategy, and then the next thing is tactics.
Yeah.
So most people jump straight to tactics, i.e. I'm going to have a Facebook page, I'm going to set up a website, LinkedIn, etc. But then they do that wondering why nobody's liking their posts or nobody's resharing. And the reason is because they don't know what their brand is. They haven't done steps 1 to 4 before they've then jumped to 5 or 6. So tactics is all about, okay, now you know with clarity what your 80% of communication is. Now you're ready to have your Facebook page. Now you know what your brand archetype is. If you're the rebel, how's that going to come across on your Instagram? If you say you're the sage, which is about information, changing the world through information, I need to see on your IG that you're changing the world through information. And then
so everyone has to have a special, unique lane that they claim and own that's different from everyone. So if you've got lots of people on Instagram and they all look and sound the same, how are you going to stand out from
Absolutely.
them?
I was at an influencers event the other day, Jasmine, and I was saying to these beautiful young ladies that all do makeup, I said, all of you are doing contouring to the nines. What's the difference between you and you? Why should a brand put money behind you versus you? There is zero differentiation. So you're right. And your lane comes from you. It's not something you have to manufacture. So I take me, for example. I'm a big mouth.
I'm a big mouth.
Me too. And now I own it. So now when I go into staff meetings or new client meetings, I'm like, if you want something different, hire me. But if you want the same thing, hire Johnny. But something different, I own that. And a lot of people, they don't own who they are, and therefore they don't master who they are.
What's the next pillar?
So then the next pillar is really about negotiation. So once you know who you are, how do you negotiate with the people in your world to get what you want, whether that's investors, suppliers, sponsors, bosses, mentors. How do you take your worth and add tax 10 times?
Oh, that's where I'm the worst. I mean, I need an agent or a manager because I cannot talk money. I mean, if someone offered me something, I'd just be grateful to be asked. I'd probably turn up and pay them for me to do it instead of the other way around.
Well, there's a horrible statistic that says 62% of women don't like speaking about money and 92% of women retire broke.
Wow.
Right? And the reason why we retire broke is because we're not taught how to talk about money comfortably. And so that pillar is all about saying you've got to get comfortable with the M word, and it ain't marriage.
Well, it's interesting, actually, because you just mentioned many women may feel uncomfortable talking about their accomplishments and promoting themselves directly. But what does it take to build a powerful female brand in today's male-dominated business world and beyond?
I think the first thing for women is to say, I'm worthy. And a lot of us are not taught that we're worthy. Young girls are taught like, oh, aren't you beautiful? Aren't you pleasant? Aren't you kind? But we're not necessarily taught you're worthy enough to stand in the room and be noticed. You're worthy enough to have a voice. You're worthy enough to do great things. And I think most women need to go back to the drawing board and be like, actually, I'm worthy. I deserve to be in this meeting. And then when you're in the meeting, say something of substance.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I think we doubt ourselves. Most women have imposter syndrome. It's interesting because I remember Sheryl Sandberg wrote in her book Lean In that women's career trajectories are less like going straight up a ladder and more like a jungle gym, because we leap about. We step to the side for children, or we take a break. We explore different vistas, different passions. And throughout your book, you speak to women around the world in various roles and across a range of sectors. Why is it more important than ever for women to create and develop their own personal brands?
I think it's more important because, unfortunately, the statistics are still not on our side. So just to run through, women earn just 52% of what men earn.
52?
52% of what men earn. Here's another one that's going to make you fall over. According to the Women's Equality Party 2005, in the UK, for every hour worked, women still just earn 81% of every pound that a man earns. So we're in an era where, yes, there's been progress and yes, there's been movement, but we need to take our own brands and take charge. And so I decided that this book really, whilst men can read it, and I would applaud them to do that, it's also speaking to women. What happens when you have a divorce? Do you stop or do you keep building your brand? What happens when, you want to have children? Do you stop or do you keep building your brand? What happens when you have children but now you want to get back into the workforce? What happens when you've decided, actually, I now want to run my own business, but you've got 4 children at home that you're juggling? What happens when you're a single woman over 40 and everybody's saying, aren't you married yet? And you're trying to build your brand. So I think there's different narratives that we deal with as women, and those things can't be ignored when I'm talking about strategies and metrics. We also need to take into consideration our reality.
Wow. So was negotiation the final one of the 8 pillars?
No.
Okay.
So
how many more do we have?
We have one more.
Go on.
So the final one is be unapologetic. And so what happened, Jazz, is as I was writing this book, life kicked me. And what I realized in that moment is it would be irresponsible for me to write a book about personal branding if I didn't address some of life's monsters, is what I like to call them. Those moments that could be a complete game changer. Those moments where you could justifiably, go to your bed and pull the covers over and never come out for a year. And so be unapologetic is about saying, no matter what you're going through, remember that you are still you and the world still needs you to show up. No matter what somebody else might say.
Amen, said my producer, Raph.
You still need to show up as you. No matter what that boss who didn't want to give you a pay rise has to say, you're fabulous just as you are. So be unapologetic.
I love that. That's really, really interesting. All of that. I mean, it's making me want to just go through the book. Is the book the type of book where you just read it and take it in, or do you have to actually physically work on yourself?
I say to the readers in chapter 1, if you don't want to do the work, put the book down and gift it to your girlfriend. It's one of those books that in every section it's called Let's Do the Work. So you can write all over it. You can take notes. You can go to the website, shebuildsbrands.com. You can download the worksheets. You can watch the videos, because I want people to change. It's not a novel. It's your life. So let's do the work.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to say also was, for women in particular, a strong personal brand can open the door to, as you've already mentioned, new businesses, career opportunities. Can you talk us through maybe one of the exercises in the book which help guide listeners to strengthen their personal brand? Or is there a top 3 even that we could squeeze in?
That's a really good question. So one of the ones that people keep saying has been working for them, those who's got the pre-order, is what I call the personal journey mapping. So sometimes you get stuck in life and you're like, I don't enjoy my job, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do next. Or I'm at a crossroad with my career. And particularly if you're over 30, you can easily forget what it was you used to enjoy, what it is you used to like. And so I take the reader on a journey where from the age of 0 to wherever you are now, you have to write down, what were your happy moments? What were your defining moments? What were your down moments? What were the values that you liked about friends or family members when you were at each stage of your life? And what were the things that made you get excited at each stage of your life? And as you do it, what you realize is that there's a pattern. And normally what happens is as we get older and the bills need to get paid and the pressure of life, we really just close down what our heart is singing for us to do. And so when you do that journey mapping, it stares back at you in the face. So classic example, Jazz. I used to be a dancer, right? I injured my knee. So when I injured my knee, I thought that was it. Dance over. I don't do that anymore. But now as a speaker, I'm the best at speaking in my area because I'm a performer. First and foremost. So whilst I might not be doing double pirouettes, I'm still performing.
Yeah, your journey's been very similar to mine. I used to be a dancer. I grew up wanting to be a ballet dancer. I went to ballet school. I did all my exams. I even taught for a little while at Pineapple and the RAD. But like you, I didn't injure myself, but reality did give me a reality check because I'd go for all these auditions and I'd never get picked. And it was the late 90s. And I remember a lady taking me to the side once and saying, listen, your technique is incredible, but people who look like you just don't get the jobs. She went, let me be real with you. She went, do some other stuff, just dance on the side. And at the time, even though it was a shock, it was the best advice I could have ever had because now everything seems to be a lot more inclusive. But back then, if I'd have dwelt on that, I don't know where I'd have been without her giving me that advice. And as you say, now the performance side of it means that you're performing every day, whether it's the way you behave, whether it's the self-discipline of you getting up every day. Do you know, the things that my ballet teacher, I remember her saying to us for self-discipline was, just start by washing up the dishes in your sink every day. She said, if you wash up the dishes in your sink, then that will lead to you the next day not making your bed, not leaving your bed unmade before you go to work. And then that the next day will make you always wear clean matching underwear. And so self-discipline, she said, is one seed at a time. But she said, if you add it to your life gradually, it just becomes a part of you.
Absolutely. And it's why you're a success. And also, if you think about the journey, there's no surprise you're now a producer and there's no surprise you're a presenter because you're still performing. So it doesn't matter which environment you go in, you will always shine when you're performing because you're a performer at the heart. What happens is a lot of people get knocked and then they want to bury who they are and then say, oh, I'm going to be an accountant now. No, child, you're a performer. Like, pick up a mic, do something that enables your performance to shine because that's innately who you are.
And when you look online, there are literally hundreds and thousands of either books or sites or blogs telling you how to be your best personal brand. What makes your book, I Am My Brand, stand out and unique?
I think the difference is who the author is and my background. So I think I come at personal branding from a completely different, unique perspective. Being a female, being black, having worked with high profile celebrities means that I just look at personal branding, not from an academic or a scientific or strategy point of view, but I look at it from a holistic point of view. How can I deal with the woman as a whole? So often I say to people, the difference between my book and many is my book is a little bit of a combination of personal development and business development combined. Because the truth is, as a woman, our personal life and our professional life are always intertwined. I have to worry about my 7-year-old eating, but my husband could go to the private members club after work and not feel guilty, whereas as a mum, I'll feel guilty. So as women, we can't really separate it. You know, now that I'm a single mum, that stigma of single mum carries into a business meeting. Whether I like it or not, people look whether or not I've got a wedding ring on. So as women, we can't separate it. So the difference with my book is I just look at the whole woman and say, actually build your brand holistically.
Can I sneak in a little bit of a salacious, gossipy question?
Go on, puppet.
Go on, puppet. All right. So, if with all the celebrities that you've worked with, Puffy, Mariah, Justin Timberlake, and more, who wanted you to change their brand from one thing to the other? And are you able to give us a little bit of an inkling down that lane?
What I can say is who was the clearest on their brand. And I'd have to say Puff, because back then when I was working with him, he was like a 20-something-year-old, but he was a genius back then. Like, I'm not surprised he's the mega mogul that he is now. A lot of people don't know that Puffy went to Harvard Business School. Like, all of that bad boy for life. Like, he's just a great brand musician. And so he was really clear. And what he taught me is that even if it doesn't sound right to everybody else, if it feels right to you, you gotta run with it. The person who wasn't as clear, I can't tell you that one.
Oh, go on. Just give us don't name them. Just give us a clue.
I'll give you a clue in that there was somebody who was a male, lovely human being, lovely person, but everybody else around him made his brand, and he was a lovely person.
You can't just... Anyone could be a male and be a lovely person. That makes no sense.
That was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
Give us a clue. All right. Were they a singer?
They were definitely a singer-dancer.
A singer-dancer. Usher or Justin Timberlake?
I can't go any further than that.
Justin Timberlake, definitely.
NDAs
definitely.
and all that good stuff.
Oh, Sophia's tweeted. She says, Kubi, you're right. When you perform with your heart, you shine.
Amen.
Amen. So listen, in honour of Black History Month, it's the first week of Black History Month in the UK. Of course, in America, it's February, but in the UK, it's October. Can I ask you to name your top 3 Black history inspirations? Not your parents. No one you know that we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So UK-wise, I'd have to say Kanye King, to kick off with Khan. For me personally, she was like a mentor. She took me underneath her wings, founder of the Mobos. She was brave at a time when a lot of people weren't brave. Music of Black origin kicked off at a time when everybody said it wouldn't. So my number 1 would be Khan. My number 2 would be Malcolm X. Malcolm X, like me, he's a bit of a rebel. Like, he was unapologetic about what he stood for, and I liked his bravery. And number 3, I would have to say, Girl King.
Gayle King,
yeah.
Oprah's best friend.
Oprah's best friend, because of her recent interview with R. Kelly. I thought she handled that so well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, talk about just amazing.
Okay, if you've just joined us, I'm joined by Kubi Springer, the author of a new book called I Am My Brand. She's been in the industry for 23 years, and she's taught us how to make the most of our brands. We've had the 8 pillars of success, which include things like vision, decision, being clear, having values, having strategy, having tactics, being able to negotiate, and being unapologetic. It's been incredible speaking to you, Kubi. Good luck with the book. Tell the listeners where they can find you on social media or perhaps in real life. Are you doing any book tours or signings?
Yeah, I am. So I'm at Red Magazine's Smart Women on Saturday, UK Black Business Show. But you can hit me up and find out about everything. Instagram at She Builds Brands. Website shebuildsbrands.com.
Wonderful. It's been absolutely inspiring. I'm really just dying to go away and read your book now.
Thank you,
It's so
Jasmine.
many good tips. I can't wait to take my brand to the next level. Right, we've got